Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. This season's Prestige Cup car is the Hennessey Venom GT Spyder. Not the regular GT, but the Spyder. But every variety of the GT Spyder, including the world's fastest edition, etc., they're all usable. So if you have any of the other editions, check for that first before you start polling for this one. This car is actually very old. This is going back to one of the first milestone cars that was introduced in the game. So older players have this and probably had it maxed for a long time. Since then it's been used in at least one or two cups where it was available for gold keys, but this is one of the first times I think it's available for silver keys. Now what's interesting is that on my second account, after all these years of playing with it, I don't have this car, so this is my chance to get it, and I'm going to go ahead and pull it today. Now what to know about this car? This car started off back in the day as an 8.9 car. It was quite slow. Natural Motion since buffed it, and they buffed it quite well. It is now a 7.4 car. So it is fast enough now to easily take on Tempest, right? And one of the things about Tempest is you do not want a car that only does one thing well, meaning you don't want to only have a car that either does sprint well or does speed trap well. You want to kind of have both. The good news is that the Hennessey Venom GT Spyder, being one of the older cars in the game, sprints very well. This is unlike most of the latest 5-star cars that we're getting. Ooh, second pole, nice. This is better than most of the latest 5-star cars we're getting, where they do a lot of tire spinning. They struggle with the 0 to 60, 0 to 100. This car does not. It shoots out of the hole very well, so it sprints well, and it still carries a decent top speed. So this is actually a good car for Tempest 3, Tempest 2, and Tempest 1, but Hennessey Fusions are not always easy. So that one right there is my second pull, and I already got the car. This one is the same exact spec as the Milestone, which I have on my first account. It's also a yellow with a black stripe, just like this one. And of course, the game's going to force me to go collect the award from the race pass, which is pretty obnoxious, but alright, I will take it. So we'll claim that. We'll come back. So it looks like, you know, I got the Milestone car and the Milestone spec pretty quickly. So let's talk a little more about this car while we try to pull another one. So this car, while, like I was saying earlier, while it's good for Tempest, it is not as good nowadays for live racing. It's a fast car in the sense that it's a 7-point-something car, but most of the Tier 5 cars that are better are already faster than that. So this one is only so-so in comparison. And then there's other options out there that would be better for live all around because of the way they gain Evo, which this car does not gain quickly. It does gain it, but it's not going to gain very quickly. So again, if this is your first 5-star Tier 5, you need to understand that it is good for Tempest, not so good for the other stuff, but there's one more catch to this car. If you're a newer player and this is the first Hennessey you're getting, your problem is going to be fusions. Hennessey isn't one of those brands that has tons and tons of fusions always dropping in the game. So before you start earmarking this car for Tempest or anything, you should consider that that's an issue. Wait, why am I sharing this? I already had. This is the problem with this car. It's every time it comes in, it says it's the only one you have, even though you have like 10 of them. So it's very obnoxious. I don't want to share this car. You know, it doesn't do anything, this Mustang Boss 302. But you should keep every Mustang Boss 302 you get if you're doing Race Pass, because it lets you actually, it's a elite, where they say upgrade a elite car. That's a great option for that purpose. So that's where you can use that upgrade the elite car thing. And it's a Tier 1, so it's very easy to upgrade the elite levels. You can get like 5 levels without using many tokens. Okay. So we're not doing too well since getting the car in the second pole. That's not really surprising. Generally speaking, my advice to newer players is you got the car, stop pulling. Save your silver keys for next season. Since I'm sitting on a lot of silver keys, it's a little different. I can get away with doing what I'm doing, which is pulling for a second one, even though I know chances might be slim that I get a second one before loyalty. But nonetheless, since we're discussing the car, it's something to do while you're talking. All right, 3-star car. We're moving up, but for the most part, still junk. Now, back to the Hennessey Venom Spyder. Another thing to note for this car is that the strongest stage 6 for this car is body. In fact, it is a much stronger stage 6 than all the rest of them. And it's critical if you're trying to do something where you're trying to beat whatever cup with that one important stage 6. I can tell you, body's going to make or break it. Good chance that the Prestige Cup can be beaten with just body if you're full fusion, because it literally drops the time from somewhere around the 9.2 at stage 5 only full fusion to 8.6 or 8 point something. The other piece of information to note about this car is you might want to look up how to drive it. It can be a little touchy to drive to get the proper time that the dyno is showing. So it's not one of those cars that easily run under dyno. In fact, if anything, most people struggle to run dyno with it. So you want to make sure that you look up shift patterns and maybe test run it in the dyno area before you try to take this car out for the event itself. Prestige Cup tend to be usually not going to be stage 5 only, but generally are not going to be as difficult as, say, something like an Evolution Cup. So you're going to fall somewhere between 9.2 and 8.2. That's going to be where the Prestige Cup's going to end. I suspect 8.7 to 8.5 range for the PC Cup would make sense. It wouldn't make sense for it to be much faster than that, because the other stage 6s being weaker, just to get to 8.7 can take 2 or 3 stage 6s. So that's generally how the PC Cups work out. That's assuming full fusions. They expect you to have at least 1 or 2 stage 6s or full fusions, with full fusions. And then if you have more stage 6s, you could get away with it without full fusions. That's going to be your typical situation with that. So here we go. We got another 5-star at pole number 10. Let's see if it's probably another Hennessey. Well, it's okay. Different trim, although not my favorite kind of color. So this is probably going to be stripped for parts. I'll keep the yellow one. But I still have loyalty coming up, and then let's see how many I have by that point. I don't know if I have any stage 6s for this car or not. So this is why I'm going to go ahead and pull all the extra keys and get through it, so that if I do have extra cars, I can strip them and potentially get some stage 6s, and keeping my fingers crossed for body. If not, though, it doesn't hurt my feelings. I am going to get it from the parts crate using bronze keys, which are now critical for this game. In the old days, bronze keys, you collect them and you kind of go, they're kind of useless. Nowadays, though, bronze keys are critical to advancement, because if you're missing parts, guess where you're going to get them from? Bronze keys, parts crates. This doesn't work for purple star cars, but for gold star cars like this, and that's every Prestige Cup car and most milestone cars, if you're not in the top 10 crew, that's how you build them. You need those bronze keys to do it. All right, so coming up pretty quickly towards 15 poles, and let's see what the final spec is on the loyalty. I'm not holding my breath for another one between now and loyalty, but if I get it, I'm not going to complain. So mostly 2-3 stars. That's, again, very expected. Do not get discouraged when you see a lot of 1 or 2 stars. That's what you normally get. Okay. And sometimes some of these 1 or 2 stars may be useful for you, like the Alfa Romeo 4C Spyder. If you get enough of them and can actually get one pretty much fully built, that's a great tier 2 for Tempest, believe it or not. I blew through Tempest 1, 2, and 3 with it. It's a great car for that purpose. But being a T2 and being that, stage 6s are kind of hard to strip out of a T2 car, you have to gauge it before you lock it in. Again, crates are now available if you have the bronze keys. A 4C Spyder is a great car. The regular 4C is not. That's actually the gold star version of the boss prize car, so don't worry about that. But if you're already seeing regular 4Cs in your polls, you've already finished Tempest 3 anyway. Okay. Alright, so that's it. 15 polls going through, and we did not get another one. So 2 so far, 1 from loyalty. I'm going to have 3 of these to mess around with. Obviously, I'm going to strip 2 of them, and then we're going to see what the loyalty gives us. Okay. Oh, actually, I think I clicked the X, which may put me back to garage. Yeah, I did. Okay, so let's just go back in here and collect that final car. Once we have that, I'll strip all these cars and see how many parts I get, and then I'm going to start prepping for the Prestige Cup. Now, between now and then, of course, you have to run supply cups. So that's going to be another thing to consider if you're not someone who's sitting on a lot of these or sitting on a max version of this. You may need to tweak it in some way to be able to beat Dino so that you can get through those supply cups, because you're going to need those fusions. So I'm going to take a look at that with this car later, since I have extras, and see if there's any simple builds that can do that. Another option always is you can run the car stock in supply cups. If you know how to shift well, stock is one of the easy ways to get through all supply cups before you start upgrading, where things get tougher because the opponents kind of change with your level of upgrades and to make it more challenging. So unfortunately, I got 2 of the same specs and 1 spec that I don't really care for. So I'm going to go ahead and start stripping all these. But that is my Prestige Cup car polls for this season for the Venom GT Spyder. There'll be a follow-up video to discuss this car in some more detail. So keep an eye out for that before the PC Cup becomes active. I'm going to try to give you guys a little more detail about what you can do with this car. I hope you liked the video. If you do, leave a like. If you like my channel and like to see this kind of videos, subscribe, hit the bell, and you get notified when I put up new videos. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.